Hi, I'm Camille Pajarillaga, a 19-year-old civil engineering student from the Philippines. I'm an outbound student from Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology and an inbound student to Universitas Sebelas Maret. I made this video to serve as my final project in the course 2D CAD, which is under Southeast Asian Technical and Vocational Education Program, which is being held by Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization. So in this project, we were tasked to create a floor plan that represents the Filipino culture. So upon thinking of what layout to do, I thought of the things that are very common in every Filipino household. I thought of the things that represents our culture that can be found within our houses. So I hope that the things that I found and thought about would be visible and obvious in my work. So have a great time watching and let's begin. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to check for our units because it will help us be precise and accurate about our work. Since it is written centimeters here, and anyone can change it the way they want, but I want it to be in centimeters, so I'm not gonna change it anymore. So let's just click OK. And then we will begin with the blocks. I want to begin with the blocks because it helps me that in further work, like when I'm already starting with the floor plan, I can easily add the elements like the doors and the windows that I've pre-made before using the blocks. So, yeah, the first block that we are going to do is the door because in every household, in every houses, not just in Filipino houses, in everywhere, doors are extremely important. So that's what we're going to make first. In doing a door, in creating a door, what we're gonna do is to insert a rectangle and specify any point. So the width of this rectangle will be equivalent to 50 and its length will be 150 centimeters. And then we are going to create another rectangle. And its point will be specified at the end point of the first rectangle right here. So this time, a rectangle will have a width of 30 centimeters and a height of 650 centimeters. Like that. And then, what we're going to do is to put an arc. We're just going to create this start, center, and end. 90-degree arc. So it looks like that. And this rectangle right here should be copied on the other side. So what we're going to do is to copy it and specify a base point. I'm going to choose this base point so that I can easily put it at the end of the arc in this side. Then escape. So now we have a door. But that's not it. That's not how simple to make a door. So when we are putting our doors in our layout or floor plan, we have to make sure that this side right here should be clear, should be transparent. That's why we're going to put a wipe out command. We're going to use this command. We're just going to specify it at the ends of our rectangles so that the other elements that doesn't need to be affected won't be affected. So there, we're just going to put it at the back of all our elements. And we need to remove the borders. So we type wipeout frame, we choose this wipeout frame, and enter the value to 0. And there we have a door that looks like a door. So in order to make this door scalable and flippable, I don't know if that's a word, we're just going to make it as a block. Okay, so we're just going to type block. Let's name it as a door. We need to pick our first point. Let's say this is what we want to be our main point. And then we just need to select our objects. So, and enter. There. And then we said, okay. Now we have a block door. So we can move it as a whole already. So what we're going to do now is to open the block editor by clicking our block. So the first thing that we need to add is a linear parameter from here to here. And yeah. So next, we're going to open its properties so that we can change the number of groups from 2 to 1. Okay. So next, what we're going to do is to create an action, a stretch, so that our door could be stretchable. Like this parameter, this point, select this area, and then the objects. And click enter. So another stretch, like this parameter, a point, and then the first corner and last corner of the frame, and then the objects. Then click enter. So for our second action, we need to change its angle offset here in the properties to 90. And there. And then we're going to include a scale action. Enter. So when we test our block, we can now scale our door. But we also want it to be flippable and in both sides, vertical and horizontal. So we're going to include a parameter set, a flip set. We're going to start in the middle. There. Okay. So next, we need to create a new selection set, and then we're just gonna type all so that we can select everything. Enter. And then we're going to include a base point so that we can move our block easier. So we put our base point there, and now we have to modify our flip set so that we can include that base point in our set. So yeah. Next, to keep our flip state in the middle, we need to add another action, which is move. And we need to select a parameter and then enter. And an object, which is our flip state 1. So we need to make sure that this flip state will stay in the middle. That's why we need to manipulate the property of our move action. And we need to set the distance multiplier to 0.5. And there. So, yes. So the next one, we're going to put a parameter set, another parameter set, another flip set. And we're going to make it from here to here. Now this time it's going to be horizontally. So in making this, we just need to select a new selection set and type all again. And then click enter. And now since this flip set that we have made is not included in our first flip set, we need to modify this again and include this one now. And enter. So we can test our block to see if our door is now stretchable and flippable in both sides. Okay, we can, as we can see, we can stretch it and scale it in different sides. So our door is already good. Our door block is already good. So just gonna save the block and save it for later when we start with our floor plan. And then we have to close the block editor. And yes, we're done with our door block. Now that everything is ready, we can now start with creating our main floor plan. So as we can see here, I have already created the foundation lines in which the walls will be put. So I have just made this using different sizes of rectangles and lines. So as you can see here. And I also included the stairs because I want this house to be a little elevated from the road. since here in the Philippines, typhoons are usually a thing. So every year there's an average of 20 typhoons that enters the country. So flooding is very usual. That's why I want this house to be elevated from the road to prevent the water from getting through the house. So yes, the first thing that I'm going to do is to put the walls and just trace the lines right here. So I'm going to use multi-line style. And I'm going to create a style first that I want. So I'm just gonna click new and name it with wall because it's going to be the wall. So I'm just going to manipulate the size of this. And as you can see here in the preview, that is going to be how our wall would look. That's going to be the look of our wall. So I'm just going to set this as a current and then click OK. So now I want this wall to be in a different layer so that it will be easier to edit that later if I want to do some adjustments. So I'm just going to add a new layer. I open the layer properties and I'm going to add a new layer and I'll name it as wall and set it as the current layer, and I'll pick a different color so that it will be easier to determine which is which. Okay, so now that it's ready, I can now insert the wall by typing ML or MLine. I'll scale with 1, justification of 0, and the style of wall because that's the name that we have input earlier. Okay, so now I can now trace these lines to insert my wall. So I'm just going to click enter to repeat the same command. Okay. Alright, so I think I have traced everything already. So I did not trace these lines because it's going to be left open. So what I'm going to do next is to connect these walls so that it will flow as one. I'm just going to merge the piece first. Okay. Alright, so I think I have merged everything already. Now what I'm going to do is to join the corners that haven't been joined. It's like this one. And I think that's the only one. Yes. So what's left is this cross right here, and I'm just going to select merge cross to merge them. There. So now our wall is ready. What I'm going to do now is just to turn off the layer of the stairs and the layer of 0 so that I can select the walls easily because I want this to be sent to back. So I want everything to be sent to back. That's why I closed the other layers first so that I can select these walls only. So I can just turn it back right now, and now it looks like this. So our stair is now in front of the walls. Okay. So next, what I'm going to do is to add some columns in the corners of our walls because those will serve as the foundation or the pillar of our house. So I'm just going to insert a rectangle at any corner like that, and then I'm going to move it away first so that it will be easier to add the hatch command and select the internal point. So I'm just going to pick solid and close. So now I can just bring it back again. Make sure to select everything in the column because when we just click this will just be the hatch. So the outline rectangle is not selected. So that's why we have to select properly. And then I've created a column. I'm just going to copy this to every corner of our walls. So I'm just going to select the base point and then just copy this like this. I'm zooming into each point to make sure that I will place it in a proper location. Okay, so now it's been placed in different corners of our wall, but there are just some corners left. I did not get to copy the column yet there because it's difficult to select the proper location because it's the end. So I chose a different base point so that I can put this column into the center. Okay, so now everything is okay. So now what I'm going to do is to insert hatch. Hatch makes us determine different materials according to what symbol it symbolizes to use in our houses. So this template right here is what I'm going to use later for my final output, and it includes a description as to what symbols must be used to represent a certain material. Like for example, for the glass symbol, I can just use this. So for the wall of our house plan, I'm going to use the concrete symbol because houses here in the Philippines are typically made out of concrete. So yes, that's what I'm going to use. First, I will turn off this layer so that I could insert the hatch easier without having trouble with the lines in between. So I'm just going to type hatch, and I'm going to select this one because that is a symbol for concrete. Select the walls that I want it to be. And I'm not going to select some walls because they must contain a different material, a different type of hatch. All right. So those walls that I have input, so those walls will contain concrete. And this time I'm going to open this layer and insert a transform symbol here for our bathroom. Because in a bathroom, we need a different type of wall because it is typically slippery because of the water. So we need a non-slippery wall and a waterproof wall. So I opened this layer again, layer 0, so that I could only insert the hatch on the inside of the bathroom. So the outside can be a concrete for a better foundation of our walls. So once again, I'm going to type hatch. I'm going to select this ANSI 37 and just insert the insides of our bathrooms. So as we can see, it's not that visible. The symbol is not that visible, so I'm going to scale it to 100 or maybe 50. Yes, so that is better. And then just gonna click enter, and there we can see the difference now. And then I'm going to select hatch again and use the concrete symbol earlier to fill in the gaps that we have earlier. So for this type of wall, I can just use the scale of 1. And close the hatch creation. So now we have put the hatch in different places of our walls to determine which material should be used to create this house. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to insert the furnitures. So there's a template that we can use to insert the furnitures that we need for a house plan. And in this time, I just picked the ones that are useful and the ones that I want to include in my house plan. So here it is. What I'm going to do is just to copy it and then paste it to my house plan. Just going to make sure that it is aligned. And there we now have our furnitures for our house. So next, what I'm going to do is to insert the door where it is needed. The door that we have created earlier using block editor. So I'm just going to type insert here. And as we can see, it is not proportional to our house plan. So what I'm going to do is just to scale it down. So I'm going to click scale and I'm going to type 0.1. And now, as we can see, it is now aligned to our house plan. But before that, I'm going to move it to a different layer. I'm going to select a new layer and type it as door. So I'm going to set this as a current layer. And this door, I'm going just to change it right here. So we can also change the color into blue. So here's our door. And now what I'm going to do is to put it in its respective places. Just like that. Oh, I need to select this. Okay. So yes, now I'm going to copy it to different places. Here as well. No, it's not. I'm going to fix that later because it still needs to be rotated and something. I'm just going to place it in different places where it is needed. Okay. Oh. Okay. So I think that's enough. Yes. So first I'm going to fix this door towards the outside of the house. So I'm just going to move it right here. And then rotate it. Like that. And align it to the wall. So yes. And then this one, towards the bathroom, I'm just going to flip it. And then have some rotation. Okay, and then this one towards the fascia is already okay. This one towards the room is also okay. This one towards the prayer room is not okay, so I'm just going to rotate it. And now it's okay. And then this one towards the bathroom, I'm going to rotate it as well. Oh. Alright, and here towards the room is another rotation. And this one, I'm going to move it towards the middle. Okay, and then flip it. Oh. Alright. So now it seems like our door is fine. Yes. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to insert text to determine the parts of our house. So I'm going to use multi-text and I'm going to write this one first. So this one right here is the lanai. Then finish floor line of a positive 0.5 meters. Because as I said, I want this house to be a little elevated from the road. So it's going to be 0.5 meters above the road. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is to change the size into 25 and right here to 18. And I'm just going to select center and change text editor. So as we can see, it will be proportional to our house plan. So I forgot to change the layer for this one. So I'm just going to create a new layer and name it as text. And I'm going to select this current and change the color to a little darker like this. And for this one, I'm going to change this layer so it will be right like this. By the way, it will also be good to bold the first line of our text so that it will be easier to read. Okay, so this is our text. I can just put it right there. All right, so now I'm just going to copy this text in different parts of our house. So like here, right here, here. Okay, so in editing my text, I don't want anything to interrupt my editing phase. So I'm just going to select all layers but current so that I could lock them so that I won't be able to change anything about it, so I won't be interrupted while editing my texts. Also, I want to change the color so that it will be more dark. It will be darker when we export it to PDF. So I'm just going to select black or a little brown. And yes, so for this part, this is the garage. So I'm just going to change the names according to their location in the house. So this is the garage. I'm just going to move it a little center. And this one is the porch. So this one right here is the patio. So as we can see in our house plan, we have a lot of spaces outside. Like we have the lanai, we have the porch, we also have the patio because Filipinos are known for their hospitality. So in accepting guests, they must let them feel welcome. That's why we have to dedicate a lot of spaces in order for them to feel welcome, even if they're just outside the house. So also when entering the house from the patio, we have the service area. So yes, so that's where we can chat along with other people and have some coffee or tea or something. And this is the bathroom beside the service area. Okay, so it seems like it is a little long for our room. So I'm just going to cut the word and make it like that. Okay, so next, this is the kitchen. And this one right here is the living room. So as I said earlier, Filipinos are known for being hospitable. So in being hospitable, food is always included. That's why when we accept guests, we also offer them food. So that's the reason why the living room connects to the kitchen. Also, this is the dining room. So this will be kitchen and dining room. Oh, kitchen and dining area. All right. So here we have the master's bedroom. And then this is another bathroom. Okay, so I haven't changed the FFL for different places yet, so I'm just going to come back to it later. This one is the bedroom one. This one is the bathroom. And also, Filipinos are known for being religious. So that's why I dedicated a prayer room specifically for praying. Uh-huh. And this one is the bedroom too. Okay, so now I'm going to correct the FFL for every room because I forgot to do it earlier. So I'm just going to edit it again. So for the garage, we have 0.0 positive negative sign because the garage is just at the road level. So porch is also positive 0.5. Uh, let's make it two-digit precision. So 0.50 and the garage will be 0.00. So for the lanai, we also have 0.050. For the living room, 0.050. As well as for the kitchen area, service, the first bathroom, and the patio. Oh wait, just service and patio. So for the bathroom, since the bathroom needs to be a little lower than the actual floor of the house because of the water that it contains, so it will be 5 centimeter lower than the floor beside it. So it will be 0.45. Okay, so that's great. And then for this one, as we can see, we have stairs right here again. So the room is also a little elevated from the living room and kitchen area. So that's why our master's bedroom will have an FFL of 0.80. And again, for the bathroom, we have to make it we have to make it 5 centimeter lower than the floor beside it. So we have 0.75. For the bedroom one, we have 0.80. Another bathroom for 0.85. I mean 75. And then the prayer. All right. So everything is great now. But it seems like I forgot to add a door in our bathroom here in the master's bedroom. So I'm just going to unlock the door layer and then just copy this one and put it right here. Please. So there we have the door for the bathroom. And yes, now that our text is ready, I'm just going to lock it also and then create a new layer, because what I'm going to do next is to add the dimension line. So I'm just going to create a new layer dim. I'm going to unlock this and change the color to probably yellow. Okay. Alright, so in adding our dimension, I'm just going to create a new dimension style that would fit our house plan. So I'm just going to create a new dimension style and start with standard. So just gonna click continue, and I can edit this information to make it okay with our house plan. So first I'm going to select the line and check this fixed length extension lines and select the length into 0 so that it won't have any excessive lines. And then next, for the symbols and arrows, I just want it to be oblique. So we can choose anything, but I chose it to be oblique. And then for the text, I chose, I'm gonna edit the text height into 0.25 and the text alignment into ISO standard so that it will be aligned with our, with the direction of our dimension. And then for the fit, I'm just going to use the overall scale of 85. And then for the primary units, I want a precision of 0.00 similar to our FFL and a scale factor of 0.001 because here we have we use the units like 100 units for 1 meter. So I'm just going to select this scale factor so that it will be applicable to our measuring style. So yes, and then I'm gonna click OK and select this as the current dimension style. So I'm just gonna close it and I will try to add a dimension. This one right here. So this time I'm just gonna edit it again, modify and change the scale factor to 0.01 only. So there we have 4. Then to continue this, I'm just going to select bin font and just click on the lines or the endpoints where I want it. And here on the other side, I'm just going to select the linear dimension style. Okay, so again, I'm going to select bin font. Well, I'm just going to delete this because this is not really, as we can see, this is not just the size of the room, so it starts from here to here. So I'm going to select a new linear dimension and choose this and this and just put this over here. Okay. And also for this one, here and then here and put it over in line with this one. All right. So we can see our text is a little big. So maybe I can scale it down because it's not really that proportion to our house plan. So I'm just going to make it 0.2 probably and also enclosed. And I think it's better now. Okay, so I'm just gonna add more layers, more dimension, I mean. So let's start with here. Okay, so now that everything is fine with our dimensions, so now what I'm going to do is to insert column lines. So in inserting column lines, I'm just going to add a new layer again. Name it as column lines. And unlock it and lock the dimension line. And I will set this as a current layer and just change the color to blue. All right, so column line, I'm just going to make lines along the columns that we have made earlier, along the corners of our house plan. So yeah, as we can see here in our template, there's also a legend for the column line. So it must look like that, a dashed line. So yes, what I'm going to do now is to change this by this one. So this is the dashed line that we need for our column line. So similar to this. And then to insert a column line, I'm just gonna type XL. So our column line looks like this, and I'm just going to insert it in every column that we have here. So I'm just gonna copy this one, put it to other columns. First, I'm doing horizontal columns. Yeah, so it seems like we have selected every column that we have horizontally. So here's what's left. Okay, so I'm just going to click enter, and this time I'm going to insert an XL line in a vertical direction. So I'm just going to copy this again. Right, so we have selected everything now. And as you can see, we have a long column line. So what I'm just going to do is to insert a rectangle. Wait, I'm going to delete this one first. So I'm just going to insert a rectangle that would allow me to set a boundary so that we can trim all the outside lines so that it won't be too long. All right. So I'm just going to delete this rectangle again. And now we have our column lines. Oh, wait. So this one right here, the column lines here, I'm going to trim this again because we only need it until this line at the end. So also here at the bottom. And enter. So yeah, that's the only column lines that we need. So in naming these column lines, to name these column lines, we're going to use letters at the upper side and the numbers at the horizontal lines. So I have a template right here. So I'm just going to use this circular template and insert it right here. And then I'm just going to move it so that it will be connected to my line. Like that. So I'm just going to use this in different lines vertically and continue the letters. So I'm just going to copy it first. Okay. So for this one right here, it is near to our next letter. So I'm just going to shorten it a little so that it won't be affected before I put the letter that indicates which line it is. So there. And then I'm just going to edit this letter by double clicking. And I'm going to write A until whatever letter that we get. Okay, so this time we're going to put the names of our column lines vertically. So I'm just going to copy it again. So this time we're going to put numbers at our horizontal column line. So numbers, increasing numbers from the bottom up to the top. So this one right here is also near our letter, so I'm just going to shorten that a little and then copy this and edit it. Now we have all the column lines put in our columns. So we have 14 horizontal lines and 10 vertical column lines. The next thing that I'm going to do is to put a section line. So again, I'm going to create a new layer and name it as section line. So I'm going to select this as current and unlock this and lock the column lines. And this for the section line, I'm going to use the color orange. Okay, so for the section line, I'm going to put it to a place where we can see a lot of things, furnitures, elements when we put it. So that's why I chose this one right here and also this one in the middle. So by looking at our template, we also have a legend for our section line, which looks like a dash dot dash dot dash dot line. So I'm just going to select that line. This is that one. Dash dot dash dot. Yes. So I'm going to insert a line and put it like this here. Okay. So again, I have a template for our section line name. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it here in our drawing. Just like there, and then move it. Put it right here. And again, I'm going to insert lines that will connect them. So I use the downside arrow. So I chose this section line to be towards downside because we can see more elements when we look downward. So the prayer room, the bathroom, the everything, and then we can see this through the open wall here. But if we look like upward, we don't see much. And the purpose of section line is for us to see more furniture, more elements when we divided our house into a section. I'm just going to copy this too, so that it will be proportional and equal on both sides. So yes, that's the first section line, and then I'm going to add another section line vertically. So again, I'm just going to insert a line. So I want it here in the middle. So just like that. Yes. So, and then I'm just going to copy this again. And put it right here. So this time I'm just going to rotate this towards this way. So I'm going to name it as B. So I'm just going to rotate this one again. And like that. And then I'm just going to copy it so that, again, on the other side, it will be equal. And there I have my section lines. Yes, now we have column line, section line, dimension line, and the last one that I am going to put is the roof line. Okay, so again, I'm going to add another layer. So I'm going to name it as roof line. And I'm going to set it as current. And I'm going to lock the section lines and unlock this roof line. So I'm going to just select another color like light gray, so that it won't be too visible when we print this house plan. So in creating a roof line, what I'm going to do first is to select the proper legend. So in a roof line, we have a spaced dash line. So I'm just gonna find it here, and this one right here is what we are looking for. So first I'm going to create rectangles. Alright, so now I'm just going to turn off every other layer so that we can see a roof line and edit it easier and better. So I'm just going to select all but current and turn off everything else aside from our current layer, which is the roof line. So this is the base of our roof line, and what I'm going to do is just to select offset command and specify a distance of 80 centimeters because we want our roof to be a little further from the wall by 80 centimeters. So I'm just going to select everything and offset them by 80 centimeters. And that will serve as our main roof line. So now that I've offset everything, I'm just going to delete the first lines that we have created because those are not really necessary. And then what I'm going to do now is just to trim those lines inside our roof line. So I'm just going to delete that. Alright, so now we can begin with creating our proper roof line. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is just to insert a line right here, and it's supposed to be a 45-degree angle, but since it is on a different side, so I'm just going to click the opposite side of the opposite angle of 45, which is 135 degrees. And then just gonna select any other length. So because we can just trim it later. So again, 135 like that. So I'm just gonna trim the excessive lines and we'll stop by where they meet. Okay, so next I have to add a horizontal straight line right here, and then another 45-degree angle line right here, and I'm just gonna stop by anywhere, and another 135-degree angle right here, and I'm just gonna stop again anywhere, and then I'm just going to remove the extra lines. Alright, wait. Okay, so wait a minute, let us redo that. 135. Okay, so again, trim the excess lines, and then we have this right now. And then I'm going to add a straight line right here. And connect this side of the roof here by 45 degrees to this line. And again, I'm gonna trim everything else. Okay. Okay, so then I'm gonna insert another line that has a 45-degree angle here. And then a line right here again with 45-degree angle just to connect to this line. And then I'm just going to remove this. Okay, and then a straight line right here. And another 45-degree angle. Alright, so trim again. And then this time, another 45-degree angle starting from here. And then connect this line by 45 degrees. And then trim. Another straight line. And here, 45. And also here on the other side, we have 45. Oh, I mean 135 because it's on the opposite side. Okay, so just this okay, so as you can see, it's not really in that uh exact position. So I'm just going to move this line with the same line as that one, as that intersection, and then I'm just going to lengthen it or stretch this line right here and trim the excessive one. Okay, so that right there is our roof line. Then what I'm going to do is to open every other layer as well so we can see where this roof line is located. So it's right there, and right there. Okay. So now we are done with our house plan. But since our texts are already like below the lines and it is not that visible and we want them to be the most visible one, so I'm just going to select the text, select this as a current layer and unlock everything else, and then select all but current, and I'm going to turn off everything, and I'm just going to select the text and then draw order and bring to front so that it will be at the front of our house plan, so that it will be the most visible one. So yes, we are done with our house plan. Now what's left to do is to print it or export it into a PDF file. So in order to export this file into PDF, I'm going to use the layout method. So I'm just going to open this layout right here. And first I'm going to delete this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to just open Page Setup Manager and modify this current layout setup. And the name, I'm just going to change it to DWG to PDF. And select a paper size of ISO H3 420 by 297 millimeters with a scale of 1:1 and 10 millimeters per 1 unit. Because 10 millimeter is 1 centimeter and we want 1 centimeter to be equivalent to 1 unit. So next I'm going to open the properties, and then I'm going to open custom paper sizes and then add and use existing. So I'm just going to modify this. I'm going to select ISO A3 420 by 297 just as what I have picked earlier right here. So I'm going to select next and just check if the sizes are correct, and then next select the margins. I'm just going to change the margins into 0. So next I'm just going to type in the name like A3 final. So next is finish. And then what I'm going to do is to check this source and size and select for the name that I have written just now. So click this and OK, and there we have A3 final as our paper size. And then I'm going to select this plot style table into monochrome and just click OK. So close this, and now we have our A3 size paper. So now what I'm going to do is to insert the block where I want my drawing to be in. So this is the etiquette block. So as we can see, it is exactly by the size of the paper. So there. And then I'm gonna type MV to input the view that we have in our model. So this is the model view. Okay, so as you can see, this is my floor plan right here. So this is the house plan that we have created. Okay, so it seems like it's already in the middle by the center. It's going to double click it to change and, select a proper scale. So, okay. 1:100. Alright, so it's still a bit spacey on the outside, so maybe I can use I can use a custom scale And then I'm going to select, and then I'm going to add 1:8. Okay. We'll select okay. And I'm gonna choose that 1:80 here. So our section line on the on our vertical section line is visible. So I'm just gonna write another custom, probably 1:90. So drawing units is 90 and okay, and then okay. So I'm gonna select 1:90 right here. All right, so it seems like it is the best scale that we can have. So since it is not 1:100, I'm just gonna edit this block. And this one right here, I'm going to change it into 90. So text editor, and then I'm going to add another text right here. I'm just gonna copy it. And I'm going to write my name as a drafter. So my name is Camille Pajarillaga. Okay. Close text editor. Just gonna okay. So now I'm just going to close the block editor. Save the changes. And as we can see here, our file is now ready. So in order to view it in a PDF form, I am just going to select Control P, continue to plot a single sheet, and select Preview to check if everything is okay. So as we can see, our lines are not visible. So what I am going to do is to change the line type scale. But this time we have to align it to our scale. So since we have 1:90 scale, so first I'm going to change the line type scale for the column line. I'm going to select this layer and select all but current, and then turn off everything else. Unlock it so that I can change it, and then select it. And then I'm going to select the line type scale to 0.01234. It looks like that. It looks like a straight line, but we will see the difference later. Okay, and then next I'm going to open the roof line. It's going to be the same. Unlock it and turn off the column line. So for the roof line, it's going to be 0.01234 again. And then for the section line, I'm going to select everything again and change the line type scale into 0.02468. Like that. And then I'm going to open everything, turn on everything, and we will see here in our layout if we get the right formula to see the lines differently in our DF file. And there we can see that we can now see the broken lines, the space broken lines for roof line, the line dot for section line, and just the broken line for column line. So we can see the differences now, and then we are now okay with our house plan. So what's left for us is to save it into PDF file. So I'm just going to name it like final project, save. And as you can see here, it is now saved in PDF, and it is now okay, just like how we want it to be. So once again, my name is Camille, and this is my final project in 2D CAD under the program SEA-TVET by SEAMEO. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all the lessons that I get to learn in this program. I really enjoyed this program, and thank you so much for watching this video.